Thank you for that, Governor Cox. First, let me just welcome everybody on behalf of our over 6,000 employees here at the laboratory. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the lab. I know some of you have been here before, for some of you it's the first time, so appreciate you all coming and being a part of this. I'm not sure about the analogy of the old shorts. I appreciate the sentiment, processing that a little bit, but I do appreciate the sentiment. I'll have to think about a different analogy of how well, I have to admit, nothing came to mind immediately, but you know, I think about like making nuclear cool again, making nuclear great again. Don't mean to offend anybody with any politics or anything like that, but it really is back. So the sentiment of what you were saying is absolutely correct. It's the old shorts thing that I'm still kind of wrestling with a little bit. So thank you for that. Let me just regroup after I thought through that. And thank the Western Governors Association for deciding to host this important conversation here at the laboratory. For those of you not familiar, we are a Department of Energy laboratory, and we are the one that's focused on nuclear energy. We do other things, as is described in our vision statement, is to change the world's energy future, so energy, and secure our nation's critical infrastructure. So that's what we're about briefly. In terms of perspective, there was also, both of our governors made a comment about the nuclear renaissance. And I have been a nuclear engineer my entire career. And we have seen a couple of what I would call false start nuclear renaissances. And so to some degree, it's become a little bit of a cynical sort of joke about, is this a real nuclear renaissance or not? Some of you may not know if you don't work in this space. Before the Fukushima incident in Japan, there was talk of a nuclear renaissance. There was electricity demand growth that was occurring and projected to occur. There were other factors that gave federal government and utilities and others some hope that we would again lean in as a nation to the important attributes that nuclear energy provides to our grid, to our overall energy security, et cetera. And that did not happen. And so rightfully so, when people hear me talk about a nuclear, and I will admit, I'm going to be real honest with all of you, I've been using the word resurgence, just because in the nuclear space, renaissance can kind of have people roll their eyes. But things are very, very different now. Okay, so when you think back to like the 2010, 2012 time period, there was federal government interest in new nuclear. There were utilities projecting demand growth. And I'd kind of stop there. How is that different than today? Today, we are projecting massive electricity and broader energy demand growth. Governor Cox and your leadership down in Utah has Operation Gigawatt, identifying that he would like to double the power in Utah by 2035 and triple it by 2050, if I have that right. That is not incremental growth, that is massive growth. We are seeing that sort of massive growth around the country, particularly in the West, but around the country. So fundamentally different growth trajectory that we are on. A lot of it is around AI and data centers, but it's not just that. You know, some will say, well, what if AI data centers get more efficient? How will they go? So they will get more efficient. There's no doubt about that. We will innovate on those chips and those chip technologies and those data centers. But even so, the kind of projections that we're looking at are dramatic. Other manufacturing, whether it's the new Micron facility in Boise, as an example, all sorts of things like that that are happening, what I'd call, broadly speaking, onshoring manufacturing. And I could go on and on about where the demand growth is coming from. What else is happening? Utilities are at a loss. I'm sure there's utilities in the room, for how they're going to meet this demand growth. So they're trying to figure that out as well. And they're not thinking, I need to figure this out next decade. They're thinking, I need to try to figure this out now. And so you're seeing sort of an urgency come out of that sector as well. You're also seeing private money flow into nuclear technologies, unlike anything I've seen in my career. So I've been a nuclear engineer now for over 30 years. And in that time period, rather than seeing dramatic nuclear growth, what I've witnessed is perfectly good nuclear reactors being shut down because they were not economically competitive in their markets for a variety of reasons we can go into. Even that's changed. Now we have utilities restarting reactors that were shut down and intended to be decommissioned. The Palisades reactor in Michigan will restart this calendar year. So these aren't things out in the future either. A lot of times the people that aren't familiar with nuclear would think, okay, yeah, 20 years from now we're going to do this. They will restart that reactor this year. Microsoft, in a partnership with Constellation, will restart the 3 Mile Island unit that's there in the next couple of years. And other units are being looked at to restart as well, if that's feasible. So things are really happening. Going back to private sector dollars flowing in, I could go on and on about this, but let me just say two things. One, the 3 Mile Island unit that will be restarted is because of a power purchase agreement from Microsoft. Not because federal handouts or anything like that, but because there is real private dollars that need that power. The Oklo reactor that will be demonstrated on our site, several of us were out at that groundbreaking earlier this morning, that is private dollars driving that. We no longer have a situation where the federal government is driving the investments in nuclear. They are important. Thank you, Congressman Simpson. Absolutely important, particularly for our national infrastructure. But we're seeing private sector dollars drive into these because they see the commercial demand, because they see potential return on that investment, not out of the goodness of their heart. What else has changed? Sorry, I'll try to wrap up. But what else has changed? Policy has changed dramatically, and the will of this administration to see this happen. The previous administration was quite supportive of nuclear energy. This administration has doubled down or tripled down. The executive orders that were referred to earlier is a really important example, but not the only example. We are seeing real relooks at Nuclear Regulatory Commission licensing, how that is going to proceed, and the expectations on the timelines for how that will occur. We're seeing other government policies, whether those are environmental reviews, et cetera. So why is this different? We're seeing an intersection of multiple factors coming together to enable this that have not come together in my entire career. So I know you all don't live this every day, so I wanted to share that perspective. And finally, I wanted to just note, because I feel like I would be remiss if I did not, Idaho National Laboratory is where nuclear electricity was first demonstrated back in 1951. It's where the nuclear power systems that give our US Navy strategic advantage were first developed and tested, and so many other firsts occurred. 52 different reactors were designed, built, and operated on this site. But it's been a while. It has been over 50 years since we demonstrated a new nuclear reactor on this site, and all of that is changing. In the last 3 weeks, we have seen groundbreakings for new reactors, 2 here and 1 in Utah with Valor Atomics down there, and you will see many more. It's all the result of what I just talked about in terms of real actioning happening. This is not new reactors being demonstrated 10 years from now. This is multiple new reactors being demonstrated in the next few years. At the laboratory here, we are trying to help those companies achieve their technology demonstrations, in some case development of the technologies, but also de-risk them. Over the next couple of years, we will bring 2 different reactor test beds online, working with private companies to enable those demonstrations, and so much more. So I just wanted to share that context with you, and then close by saying thank you for coming and welcome. And I hope the 2 governors, Governor Cox and Governor Little, will join me on stage for a little Q&A.